Harris has been widely criticized for her approach to immigration for years. After all, her boss, President Biden, tasked her with the responsibility of tackling the border crisis back in 2021. Or did he really appoint her? Well, it seems like this week some people, particularly in the media, they want to rewrite history. Listen to this. Now, this is a little smash-up audio that we have of the media calling her the border czar a few years ago and now saying that she's not the border czar or never was. Listen to this.
Quote unquote border czar. Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People are going to have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
All right. That was this week in the media. And also the media a few years ago. But look, I have audio from that day in 2021 when Biden did appoint her with the responsibility of tackling the border.
But I've asked her, the VP today, because she's the most qualified person to do it, to lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle and the countries that help. We're going to need help in stemming the movement of so many folks stemming the migration to our southern border.
So to get some clarification on all this border talk, I've invited a special guest calling in all the way from the border out of Mission, Texas, George Martinez. He is a political analyst and spokesperson for the Libre initiative, and I've known this man for years. And in the last few years, he has organized numerous border tours for leaders across the country and probably has a lot more insight to the crisis more than our own vice president. Let's go with George here. Good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Morning, Angelette. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
You too. As you heard from my audio, and simply just watching the news, why is there this immediate denial that Kamala Harris was ever the border czar under President Joe Biden?
There's an immediate denial because they know they have failed the American people on border security. As you said, I live here on the border. I want my family to be safe, and not just my family, but all Texans and all Americans, because border security is no longer just an issue with border states, but it's for all states now, because Kamala Harris has not done her job as border czar to secure the border, to work with Border Patrol. And in this entire time that she was border czar, which was 2.5 months into the presidency, Biden's presidency, she not once talked to, at that time, Chief Raul Ortiz, and she has not once talked to the current Border Patrol chief, Jason Owens. So what has she done? The reality is nothing.
Yeah. Folks that are just tuning in, I have a political analyst and spokesperson for Libre Initiative, George Martinez, all the way from Texas. Now, while everyone was debating whether or not Harris was the border czar this week, on Thursday, the House voted on a resolution to condemn Harris' handling of the southern border, 219 to 196, with 6 Democrats voting alongside Republicans. Now, a resolution is just a simple expression of sentiments, but does this vote truly represent the sentiments of the majority of Americans, or is it a political move by Republicans to delegitimize Harris?
Well, I think the important part here is also those 6 Democrat votes. There was a poll done by the Libre Institute just recently that showed that 73% of Hispanic voters are in favor of border security. There's bipartisan support. 60% of Hispanic Democrats want to see border security. And one of those members in Congress that Democrat voters have voted for this resolution is my former Congressman, Henry Cuellar. He's out of Laredo, Texas. And this guy here, he has openly said, I'm for border security. Now, he has advocated against the wall, but he's worked with Border Patrol, and he's a border town congressman and has been in that role for many, many years. So I think you're seeing, especially state Democrats here where I'm at, that are more in line with a moderate approach where we want to secure the border. So I hear it's just the reality that Kamala Harris, Biden, they have not done their job, and unfortunately has taken the acts of state lawmakers to take some action. Thanks to Governor Greg Abbott, our border czar, Michael Banks, in Texas, who Governor Abbott appointed. He's a former Border Patrol agent, and our legislator that passed a lot of border security measures this last year and went into effect in January. And that's just a little bit that Texas has done with a little bit of power we have, because we do know that this is a federal issue. But when there's a lack of ideas, an absence of policy, you're going to result in other measures here. And it's unfortunate that we're at this point, but this is the reality we live in.
So you mentioned this poll. You said it was the Libre Institute, which is your sister organization. Where can people find that information?
Yeah, you can go to libreinstitute.org to find the poll.
Okay, great. Now, do you think with the presumptive nominee Harris now on the top of the ticket, do you think there's going to be any sway with Hispanic voters? Because there's been this poll after poll, whether it's your poll or someone else's poll, shows this shift of Hispanics going away from Biden, not necessarily towards Trump, but just like stepping away. Do you think some of those Hispanic voters will gravitate towards Harris because she's some new blood all of a sudden?
I think they have a lot of challenges when it comes to Biden and Harris, because Bidenomics does not work. And Hispanics, their number one issue, as many Americans, is the economy. And 88% of Hispanic voters believe that the American dream is harder to achieve now than it was prior to the Biden presidency and Kamala as well, right? So that's going to be their biggest challenge. And they're looking at the difference between this Trump years versus now. And many people that I get to talk to in the Hispanic community are saying, hey, my family was better off under the economy of President Trump versus Bidenomics that isn't working for us. So they're looking at multiple issues, not just border security or immigration, but the economy is going to be the biggest thing that Kamala is going to have to go through, and that's going to be the biggest challenge for them.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you calling in today, George. I hope to have you back on here again, because I think this is not the last time we're going to be having this discussion about the border.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the invite. I'd love to be back.
You're welcome. Look, that was George Martinez out of Mission, Texas, which is a border city over there in southern Texas. And he's a political analyst and spokesperson for the Libre Initiative. I wanted to bring him on because that organization has been talking about this issue for quite some time. And like I said, he has organized numerous border tours for leaders across the country to get a close eye on what's actually going on there. And a lot of these people have probably gone there more times than our own vice president, who was appointed the border czar. So what's going on here? Why is the media and Democrats trying to hide from the fact that she was appointed by Biden to lead on tackling the border crisis? Is it because they know they can't campaign on that issue? Kind of like what George Martinez was saying, that you know, they can't defend the issue because they failed on the border security? I tend to agree with that. I want to hear your thoughts. Why all of a sudden this switcheroo to rewrite history on the fact that that Kamala Harris was appointed border czar? Give me a call at 410-467-WBAL or send me a text at the Pizza Bowlies line at 410-467-9225. This is Angelette Aviles on WBAL News Radio 1090 and FM 101.5.